The hunt got held up. Here's your look at the Hiya Toys Predator's Armored Crucified Predator. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale, featuring super articulation action figures under Hiya Toys. Before getting this review started for the Armored Crucified Predator, obviously the first thing we're going to want to do, anybody know? Anybody know? Yes, we're going to calculate just how tall it actually stands. I'm going to bring in my trusty tape measure. You guys know the formula by now. We're going to take this right to the very top of its head. I'm going to stop it right there. You're looking at the Crucified Predator standing 5.6 inches in height. We can switch that then over to centimeters, revealing that the figure is 14.3, so it's about 14.5 centimeters tall. The figure truthfully doesn't come with a lot in the way of the accessories. Starting first, like all other Hiya Toy releases, you get yourself a display stand of a muddy terrain. A singular peg up at the top will attach to the underfooting of the Predator, and there's peg holes on actually either side of its feet, so you can decide for yourself which way you want to attach it. I do like the look of this. Of all the ones that they've released of display stands, I kind of like the muddy terrain the most. Again, some really nice detail done to it. You may then see there's some slots located on the sides of it. There's two on actually each of the sides, because to come included with it, again, you guys already know by now, you get these eye brackets. They essentially attach underneath the display stand, and then if you then have more than one of these, they attach then to a base next to it, a base next to it, a base next to it, and a base next to it. So there's that option as well. I actually have several Predators already with multiple display bases attached together, and it does actually give, even if you're not displaying it with multiple Predators on the bases, it does give you a little extra footing to work with, because it's awfully close quarters to the actual figure itself. You can take then the figure and attach it to the display stand, just like that. And you can have it displayed, obviously just with a little squared off corner of terrain. Again, it really does benefit to have multiples of these, so then you can, get a much bigger surface for the Predators to be standing on top of, but at least they include one and get your journey started. Let's put that to the side. To come also included with the Predator, it's kind of fun the fact that they include this. You get yourself a Xenomorph Skull. It's got some nice detailing done to it as well. For a smaller scale, fitting within that 3¾ inch scaling, it is actually a nice looking Xenomorph Skull. You can see even the detail work that they've done to it, brushing in the darker wash so that some of those details do stand out, and certainly they do. He sadly doesn't come with any other weapons. Would have been nice. Well, to be fair, he's a crucifixed Predator from the movie Predators. A opportunity, of course, for the filmmakers to throw in the Jungle Hunter. He doesn't come with anything else. Sure, yes, he does come included with some swappable hands. I'm going to do my best not to drop these because they're so very, very tiny. Just a pair of closed fists. To be fair, though, I kind of like the more fanned out hands myself. But if you do want to swap these out, you just pop them off the ball pegs and swap those out. Like I said, though, the Predator does actually have already a pair of what you could consider dynamic hands, jazz hands. You just come with a pair of those. Usually I will just display my Predators with that unless I want to display them with weapons. And like I said, the Crucified Predator sadly doesn't come included with one. So for the figure itself, it's a nice representation of the Jungle Hunter. I will say, though, that like the torso area of the figure seems quite bulky, quite thick. In fact, moving this one over and bringing in a previously looked at Predator, the name escapes me right now which one this one is, but you can see proportionately how much bigger the Jungle Hunter is to a regular Predator that we've gotten before from Hiya Toys. He's a lot thicker, not only just in the arms, the legs, but of course the torso being the big one. Quite a hefty looking Predator when you're comparing the two. Let's put that to the side. Detail work, though, on the Predator is quite nice. And the fact that this is somewhat battle damaged, you can see the portion of its side helmet missing. And you can actually even make out its eye, which I think is a nice touch. The other side is kind of more closer to being a regular Jungle Hunter, short of a few extra scratches and chipped away places in its helmet. Just love the fact that it's got the little side reveal there on the side. That's really nice. Of course, it does have still the plasma caster shoulder-mounted cannon already attached to, of course, the back of the figure. The figure comes with this already attached. You could technically remove it if you feel you want to have the Crucified Predator minus the plasma caster. But it's there. We'll keep it there for the time being. The plasma caster does have some articulation, so of course you can hinge that back and forth. I'm going to try my best to not have my finger in the way. Get your finger out of the way. It does have a hinge going this way. So like I said, there's a fair bit going on for just the plasma caster. And again, if you want to remove it, it looks like, by the way it wiggles, that you could detach it off the back. It may be a little bit more difficult than to put back into place, but it's there. We'll keep it there for the time being. The speckling, of course, famous across a regular Yautja. You'll see this here as well on the Jungle Hunter. Very big, though, like I said, and I don't keep to bring back the same continued points, but very, very thick torso. I may have narrowed that just a little bit more. He's a very thick boy. The paintwork, though, is quite good. You've got the lighter color on the interior of its stomach section, and then as it gets more to its arms, you get more introduced to a darker tan. You see a lot more of that also on the back of the figure as well. He has his skirting done in a softer plastic, and even the side skirt armor also is done in a softer plastic. This will certainly come in handy when it comes to the articulation of the figure, where you can move it back and forth. The gauntlet is located. The little gauntlet control there is located, but you can't open it up. It seems to be molded to the rest of the figure. And I really can't expect. I mean, yeah, sure, they could have thrown in a serviceable control panel. But for the size of the figure, this would certainly have been a flimsy piece. So molding that instead in place, I don't really think that bothers me at all. Of course, on the other side, he does have the gauntlet blade that can retract out like that. And you can also fold it back in as well. Just be mindful, though, of these, because they're a little bit more of a softer plastic. Get a little bit lower down. Of course, a lot more darker colors here happening. Again, you got more lighter colors around the stomach area, darker on the arms, darker on the legs. The pattern work that they've done to it, we're using dark, lighter, medium browns in there, and of course the speckling treatment does really add a lot of extra character to the figure here. And of course, down you've got your shin guards here as part of his armor as well. Overall, a nice looking figure. For the figure's articulation, let's go ahead and go through that right now. The head rotates back and forth. It moves up, it moves down, and you can also rock it back and forth a little bit as well. Moving it back and forth will, of course, may result in then pushing off the plasma caster, so you just want to be a little bit mindful of that. The arms do hinge out. This one also as well. Despite for the fact that this does have the shoulder on the one side, it moves its arms just as much on the other side. Well, as the other side over there. You can rotate the arms all the way around. He has a swivel at the bicep. He has a single hinge in the elbow. But the way that they've actually hinged it, well, there is technically a secondary hinge almost. It seems like there's a secondary hinge joint right there, but I can only seem to get the first hinge to bend. It could just be the way that they've assembled the elbow, but in a way it does kind of look like there should be a double hinge, even when you see it from the side. There are also these things you can see on the side as well, little ringlets of gold. I guess that's the way it's been attached together. Again, you got one, you got two hinges, but again, I can really only get just a single hinge, and a lot of it probably could be the fact that it's just close quarters. You're trying to get this over here, and of course in the way of it is the bicep. And we'll do it on the other side as well so you can see as well. So fairly articulated figures for really their size. Upper torso is on a ball joint. The lower torso is also on a ball joint. You can split the legs out, bring the legs forward and back, a swivel on the top cut of the thigh, double hinge knee. There we go. Double hinge also on this side as well, just in case you didn't think it was going to be the same. And again, you've got that little those ringlets of gold. Again, likely the way they've run through the peg. I'm not sure why specifically they had to color it differently from the rest of the plastic, but it is there. You don't see it as much from the front. You see it more so on the side, especially when you start bending the leg. He has no articulation here from the calf section, but he does have a hinge back and forth on the ankle, and you can also pivot it back and forth slightly as well. There you have the crucified jungle hunter, or armored crucified predator, as the name of the packaging actually will state. It's a nice looking figure. It lacks a little bit in the way of accessories. Kind of wish he could have come included with a little bit more than what he did. But to be fair, though, he does come included with the skull of the Xenomorph, and I think that's a nice touch as well. This also works well for not even specifically just the predators, but if you're a big fan of Jungle Hunter and wanted to get a 3 3/4 inch scale size of that predator, then this one really does fit the bill if you don't mind the fact that part of his mask is broken off the way it is. One thing I have noticed looking at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Predators is the ones from Predators, that's the one with the S on the end of it, seem to be a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, and a little bit larger than the regular Predators we've looked at in the past. Because Armored Crucified Predator falls within that Predators banner with, of course, the pluralized S on the end of it, it means he's a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker than, again, those other Predators we've looked at before. In fact, that's actually not a bad thing at all. The Predators with the S on the end of it, those Exquisite Minis have been some of my personal favorites that Hiya Toys have put out. If you don't mind the fact that the Armored Crucified or Jungle Hunter Predator here is a little bit more on the thicker side, he actually feels a little bit more substantial as well than some of those earlier Predators too. If you can overlook the fact he's got a very long torso, a little thick in the torso area as well, he's actually a really nice looking piece to be putting on display. Big thank you to the folks over at Hiya Toys that provided the sample of the Exquisite Mini Predators with an S on the end of it. I don't know why I keep throwing the S on the end of it. Armored Crucified Predator, or just a straight Jungle Hunter, if Jungle Hunter is the kind of thing that you want to be scouting out, hunting down, if you will. If you are new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on. And yes, making sure you're coming back to this channel because we will, in fact, be looking at more Exquisite Mini Predators from the folks over at Hiya Toys. Lots of stuff coming your way, so as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.